Welcome back, class. So you should have a brown piece of paper with you, and if you're a distance learner and you'd like to use a different color paper, that's fine too. However, we are using a dull piece of paper for our background color, and we're going to be using fluorescent colors on top because that contrast is super exciting and pleasing to look at. So that's the intent in as we draw. You can make whatever you want on your Amate painting. I would stay away from doing really heavy scenes of the high traditional Amate paintings, you know, the ones that have the little people and the little horses and the fields and the churches and the borders, and that tends to be a lot to put on a small piece of paper. Those are usually larger. However, if you're very detail orientated, that's a great way to go. I usually like to think of just one big idea. So I used birds in the example a lot because that's a pretty solid idea, and birds can be so many colorful shapes and sizes and still look like a bird. Fish are kind of similar, you know, or fish scene is really awesome. What I did years ago is, and it can be anything, like I said, I just prefer animals or things from nature because that's really what Amate is more about. I have had students do sports themes, but they tend to get really simplified and look kind of a little bit too simple, I would say. So I really would try to stick with some kind of scene from nature. What I was saying is years ago I actually did a lizard because it was just my style of kind of drawing, and I was really into the shapes of lizards. So I think the first idea is just to get a drawing down on your piece of paper in your own kind of style. And you want to make sure that it's pretty well planned with your big shapes for your idea. I would say try to fill up the page as much as you can. And if you don't fill up the page with your main idea, then filling it in with some extra background information is a great idea. So what does extra background information look like? It would look like if I made a bird, I'd put in branches or trees or vines. If I did a fish, maybe I would put in some seaweed or a friend for a fish or some rocks on the bottom that would add repetition. One of the big things about Amate paintings is that they deal actually with a lot of repetition. So my drawing here is super simple and a really basic shape, but what I want to do is add layers and layers of patterns and repetition. The contrast of the paper to the bright paint is pleasing to the eye, and repetition and patterns is also pleasing to the eye. So this is a pretty simple shape. I'm going to go ahead and start thinking about how I can make this a little bit more interesting to look at. I do like the shape. It's very organic and very much my style. But now I'm going to play with some shape ideas. I am going to give some details to the inside over here. Maybe I'll get some details. I like when those, like my lizard that we have at our house, it sticks to the glass, and I love that. This one has 4 toes, and the rest of them have 5, which is kind of fun. Amate paintings usually have a border, so I want to come up with an idea for my border. And my border can start and stop if it needs to. Like this is fine. It can do one of these things. However, borders usually go throughout the whole edge of the paper, but I'm just showing you that there's lots of right answers. So create a border that also has repetition because it's something that we're going to be studying. And this lizard's going to have a tongue coming over this way. From here, I'm going to say I will stop. I'm actually not going to do a lot more. I have my page is all filled up, which is one of my goals. I have a border at least started around one of my edges, and I am imagining all kinds of details that I can put on the legs, put on the toes, put on the back. So I feel like in my own imagination, I'm prepared to move on to the next step. Draw out your sketch, get prepared to kind of, explore now with paint, and watch the painting video to know what to do next. Thanks for watching. Bye.